Welcome to DC.
And here it comes. Swing and a miss. And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Dagger! It's 1974. The Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions.
Don't like that. I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
Despite all this, despite the churn, my approval ratings keep going up.
We are ready to give our 500% support back to this franchise, back to this city, back to this team after Snyder leaves. And then this is the poo-poo you put on the field.
For the very first time, the Washington Mystics are WNBA champions.
The Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to support fake teams that can't ruin my life.
Did you call bank? I call game.
Thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Well, FP, the bye week is typically, in years past, been our favorite one, if I'm not mistaken, because you can't lose the games you don't play. By year after year after year, we've been dealing with Ron. I mean, the last couple of years anyway, and it's been. I don't know what you did with your time off. What did you watch football? Did you travel? What'd you do last week?
We went Christmas decoration mode. Got the house ready. Got it all looking nice and spiffy for the holidays. But yeah, I was pretty bored without Commanders football. I was, all the other games were good, but yeah, I didn't really care.
There was a lot of good games. I will give you that one. And honestly, there's so many things here that are happening in DC. The Nats, 10% chance to win the first overall pick. I don't know what you call it in baseball, but they got the ball. I mean, they got the top pick, and Stevie and Matt the Met were going bananas. There's just a lot of baseball just kind of dominating our offline chat here. Soto getting a ridiculous deal. I don't even know how
insane money.
It's just, if you have male children, you shouldn't be trying to force any sport except baseball.
Yeah, no soccer, no football. Listen, I love football. Don't do football for your kids.
You got to push baseball. You got to push
it. Yeah.
I mean, just crack. I mean, at some point, the minor league contracts have to get crazy too. I would assume.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's guaranteed money, and it's crazy. I mean, this guy turned down 15 years, 440 or 450 million just 2 seasons ago,
and it's the safest sport.
He almost doubled it.
It's the safest sport. Like, why wouldn't you want your kid to play it?
Yeah,
well, maybe soccer's safer, but.
Well, I don't know. There's CTE claims in soccer because they're heading the ball all the time or whatever. But I suppose you can get a baseball to the chest that would hurt, or a baseball to the head that could be a problem.
Hurt, sure. CTE worries, no. But yeah, I mean,
yes. But I mean, I'm happy. Listen. I'm excited for Soto. Go get your money. I'm not gonna feel like
it makes me hate the Nats just a little bit more. You have like the second.
Yeah.
Aren't we like top 5 richest owners in MLB?
Yeah, the learners just don't spend though.
We just can't spend money on our homegrown talent, and we see them all just come in division, and it's
I mean, every time you face the Phillies, you've got to look at Harper, and now every time you face the Mets, you're going to look at Soto, and when you see the Dodgers from every once in a while, I mean, they pillaged the championship team basically, with Turner and all the other pieces that left. So it'll be interesting to see what the Nats do, though. I mean, the number 1 pick means something. There's, Rizzo was on national radio. He was on XM yesterday saying, it's not the time to pump the brakes. We should be, gassing the throttle. I'm like, well, shouldn't you always be doing that? I don't know. Like, Stevie was really excited about that clip, and we'll get him and Matt in here at some point to talk about it. But isn't that your job, to be gassing the throttle always? What is
but it's because there's a disconnect between spend on the team and then the owners being like, don't spend until we have, TV revenue coming in and all this nonsense. And the Orioles somehow still screwing us. It's just, I hate it. I hate it because the foundation is there for this team to spend. It's young. It can, from everything I've heard from Stevie, Matt the Met, whoever, it can be a quicker turnaround than expected.
Yeah.
It's just that we're just not going down that road because it's expensive.
Well, and that's the learner problem, right? But Rizzo's been able to make it work, right? They're a 65, 70, 72, 73 win team. The next step would be to get to that 85 to 90 mark, right? I mean, 15 games doesn't seem like a huge jump. It is, right? I mean, that's the extent of what Baseball Joe knows here, right? So like I'm really pushing my limits here with my baseball.
It's more than FP's baseball knowledge.
But it is exciting. I mean, the last couple of times they have the number 1 overall pick, you ended up with Strassi, and then you ended up with Harper, and it'll be interesting to see what they do this time around. The fear here is that you sign a future Boris guy, and I don't know how you would factor this in ultimately, FP, but I think I'm out of the Scott Boras business. I don't want to be in the Scott Boras business anymore because you can't keep these guys here. You just can't.
Right.
And it's a weird conundrum to be faced with, right? Do you draft the best available? Do you draft the best future prospect? Do you draft, I don't know. I don't know. It's for Stevie and Matt to debate, I suppose. But maybe they target Pete Alonso and they bring him in here to play first base. I don't know, but it's exciting.
Kind of crazy that the Nats can get the lottery pick and the Wizards, who are slated to get it 5 years in a row.
Out of my mouth. You took the words. The Wizards have been on my mind now for days.
Winless in
November, and then they stole a game from the Mavs,
which is crazy.
And I'm eyeballing these games at the end of the month. Home twice in a row against the Knicks it's like a Saturday and a Monday or something. Thinking like kids are out of school. I think we might try to sneak into one of those games. It's still a fun game day experience.
Yeah.
Like they've done a lot to just make it less annoying to get down there, but also when you're in there, everything is much cheaper. I don't know. When was the last time you attended a
Wizards game,
a Wiz game, or a Caps game?
Caps game last season. I went like 3 or 4 times.
Did the arena feel different to you? Felt better.
It felt better. The problem is the product on the ice stunk for the Caps last year. This year, 100% worth it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you want to talk about them for a second, because obviously Ovi's not. He's still a couple weeks away.
I mean, they didn't miss
What's
a beat
going,
without.
What
Ovi.
is going on?
The team is just insanely good right now. Every offseason move.
Is there? I mean, how much mojo are we talking about here? Because they look like contenders. FP. They look like they could beat anybody in a series.
Yeah, they can. They already took it to the top teams in the league. The offense is scoring outrageously well. The defense is playing out of their mind. Even like goalie keeping is fantastic. It's just the saying last year was this team is slow. They can't retool, and it was all about Ovi getting his record. The retooling they did in the offseason, nobody was mad about it. We all thought it was solid moves. But then the chemistry and just buying into this just I'm just honestly I'm at a loss for words. This is 2018 or better, because that 2018 team, we wanted to fire everybody. We wanted to blow up the team then, and then we went on the run and you win the cup. This team is playing of like President's Trophy winning seasons prior.
They passed the eyeball
clicking
test.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it. I've watched a fair amount this year, specifically in the third period. There's no panic. They seem to be just settled in. The second and third lines seem to be consistently punching above their weight class. It seems like the stars are aligning here. Now, can you sustain it? I mean, we're sitting here in mid-December. Can you sustain this for another 4 months or 3.5 months till you get to the playoffs? I don't know. Ovi will eventually come back. I mean, he needs 28, I think, or 27, or whatever the number is. He's got a shot.
That's the crazy thing, is like it sucks that you lose Ovi, but we quickly found a way to score without him on the ice, which is insane. And your power play is still doing everything it needs to do without seriously one of the greatest power play goal scorers ever on the ice. And you're top of the Metro right now. And listen, Ovi's old, but he's also an insane human being. He's already skating in non-contact jerseys right now.
Crazy.
Insane that he can even do that. But I think this kind of helps, right? If he fully heals and he doesn't have that mid-season grind on his body, and he could just come back fresh for the playoff push.
Coming back in September or October again.
Exactly, right? Like you get like that February.
What's the priority then? The record or the cup?
I mean, if you ask Ovi, he's going to say the cup. Ovi's going to be team first. I mean, I think they go hand in hand, right?
I think only have one.
I think I mean, I want the record because I don't know. I don't know. Ovi's weird.
No,
Right?
I think this is the wrong answer. I think you got to go for the cup. You got to.
No, but I mean,
next year.
Ovi's weird, right? Because you're like, there's no way he could do it next year. We said that last year. We said that the year before. He just keeps scoring goals.
He's
It
putting in
makes
hat
no
tricks.
sense.
So,
but if Ovi gets the record, you're probably making a cup push. It goes hand in hand.
Sure.
So
I like your point though. Like he's I mean, he's going to be coming back with 4, 5, almost 6 weeks of rest and not being hit and punched and traveling.
It'll take him a few weeks to get back up to speed, right? Find that mobility and that speed. And by the time that happens, you're in serious playoff push time, and you might just have a fully rejuvenated, fresh, ready to go Ovi.
What do they do with the lineup though when he comes back? Do you work him in? I mean, is it rude or unprofessional?
He'll stay top
crazy?
Line. He'll stay top line.
Okay, but if you were the manager, would you insert him back into top line, or would you stick him somewhere else?
The thing is, he'll probably have a shorter shift, but he'll still be top line. But I mean, like I said, Ovi's team first, right? So if he sees that he's ruining the chemistry that they've developed without him, he's not going to care, right? He'll sit back and he'll take advantage, because if he drops to that second line, he'll just take advantage of the matchup, because he'll be going against weaker defenses, right?
And that's what I was getting at, right? I mean, doesn't that, like, from a coaching perspective, putting a stud on your, I mean, he elevates that unit, but he's, like you said, he's going up against, like I say, the B team, right? But he's theoretically, it puts him in a better position to help the team and himself. I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. Because again, if you don't want to disrupt what they have going right now.
You're in a great position where you get to take one of the greatest of all time and just insert him back, and then just know that that team around him is so young, so fast, and clicking so hard that they'll do anything they need. I mean,
yeah.
Freaking Tom Wilson gets pucked in the face and then scores 2 goals. Like the team is just insane right now.
Yes, and Carbs is doing a great job.
Yeah,
I mean, I know he doesn't get enough credit. He just doesn't. There's no easy shift here, but I do want to get into the NFL stuff. I mean, we could talk. Let's circle back to the Commanders here in just a second. We can preview the game in a moment. Around the league, we saw the Rams upset the Bills. Fantastic. We saw the Chiefs basically lose, but yet again win again, and we saw the Eagles barely survive against the Panthers, who the Skins exploded against. So what do you make of all of this, right? I mean, who you most, let's say just between those, 5-6 teams or whatever, obviously no one cares about the Panthers, but who are you, if you're a fan of this team, you're most concerned today?
It's got to be the Rams. If they're putting up 40 burgers against the Bills and going shootout with Josh Allen, who's playing, in my opinion, he is MVP right now. Over Lamar, over Jalen, over Saquon. He accounted for 6 touchdowns on Sunday to bring this team back. Josh Allen is...
His team still put 9 people out there to return a punt. So what are we talking about here? Like, their special teams... I don't know what McDermott's doing, honestly.
Like, Josh Allen is insane, right? And that Bills team is really good. But for the Rams, if they're getting hot and you're looking at playoff picture, which I love that we get to look at seeding conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Very scary. Very, very scary team. But who knows? I mean, that NFC West is congested. So, I mean.
It is. I mean, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm mildly annoyed. I think that there's still these – there's weird spots where it feels like their brain turns off, right? I mean, putting 9 guys out there to return a punt. I don't know what we're doing there. Letting the Rams beat up on you. I mean, the Rams are a good team. I think we've been talking about the Rams.
Fantastic offense.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to go against McVay. Matt Stafford still in a pinch. I mean, give him the ball and tell him to drive give him, you put him in a 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
He may still be the best in the NFL.
You go zone, you go man. It doesn't matter what you put in front of him.
Give him 3 actual receivers between Tutu and Puka. Puka's doing some crazy stuff. I mean, the team can go get 40 against pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
So if I'm a Rams fan, obviously I'm encouraged. If I'm a Bills fan, I'm annoyed. If I'm an Eagles fan, right? Pete from Philly. If I'm an Eagles fan, I'm legitimately concerned. Because you've got a problem in the locker room now with AJ,
Jalen and AJ, yeah.
and they throw me the ball, basically. You've got Jalen looking very, very average for the majority of that game. You've got a defense that has played great for basically a month and a half straight, coming up very flat against Bryce Young. And I'll come back to Bryce Young here in a second. But looking at that team, like, you're still chasing the Lions. But if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm really concerned. That was a poor outing for them, more than any other team, right? We'll talk about the others, but if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm legit concerned that this team peaked too soon.
Your concern should be going against the Steelers this week, because that is a matchup.
In a 4:00, there's so many good games at 4:00.
There's so many good games.
What is the NFL doing? How did this happen? How do we have, like, usually you get like 2 poopy games and an okay game and it's red zone and whatever. There's like 4 really good games this week in the 4:00 window, and the majority of the country is going to be watching Pat's Jaguars, I think, or something.
Yeah,
it's very, very odd.
First of all, if you don't have red zone, you should pay for red zone. It's worth
for this week.
Penny. Yeah,
yes,
worth every penny. But if you're the Eagles and you're going against this Pittsburgh defense and you have your Pennsylvania Bowl or whatever you want to call it, like, this is a real test. Like the Ravens game, that Ravens defense has always kind of been weak. Everybody knows that, right? But this Steelers defense, and even Russ is cooking on the offensive side. That's going to be a really good test.
That phrase with all my heart, but okay.
I hate it too, but he coined it. So.
Let's ride. Oh no, that was last year. Sorry, keep going.
Danger Russ. But I mean, yeah, the Eagles. I just have no faith in Sirianni to keep the team tight going deep into the year, and that's what you saw last year. Even with a good record, they just crumble at the seams. Basically due to lack of leadership. Like Jalen Hurts, he's steady, he's quiet, but it's almost to a point where it hurts him because
the offense looked, but they looked bad. Like Saquon, I mean, MVP, we should be talking Saquon, Josh Allen, Jared Goff. I mean, who's your next Lamar? Maybe. I just feel like
kind of falling off. Yeah.
Holmes, not. I don't know.
The ref for the Chiefs.
I mean, Stafford should be in that mix, right? I don't think he's going to get any love because of the record of the team overall. But Saquon is Saquon. He's going to get his yards. He's going to be a tough out for anybody defensively to stop. But the team just didn't look good. Like again, it's the eyeball test. The Panthers were able to stay in the game. Hubbard looked like he was able to basically get 4 or 5 yards a clip. Anytime they handed him the ball, he was falling forward for positive yards. And in the fourth quarter in particular, as the defense got tired, Bryce Young, I got to be honest, he's really changed my mind from
that benching that he went through.
Yeah, something happened when he sat on the bench and watched Andy Dalton for a couple of weeks. He's been playing much better.
He's much more like the Alabama Bryce Young.
Yes, much more poised. He's better touch on the ball, and it's crazy because you go back to the beginning of the season, the Bears. The prevailing thought was the Bears fleeced the Panthers by trading and they drafted Bryce, this and that. Looking at him right now, right?
The
And this
Panthers
isn't a
looks to be a better. Yeah,
just a question. Who's playing better football right now, Caleb or Bryce? And it's crazy we're even asking. I'm even throwing this out there.
Yeah, the fact that it's a question that can legitimately be asked is insane.
I mean, it's not a terrible question, right? I mean,
it's not a terrible question, but if you look at both franchises, top to bottom, both owners suck.
Yes,
but
I wouldn't say the Mara family sucks. I think they just fired a coach.
They suck for different reasons than Panthers owners suck.
Okay,
but they're not.
Caleb got his coach fired.
Yeah,
did he or did he? I mean, maybe not. Maybe that's unfair. Eberflus got himself fired because he can't tell time.
But it's just when you look at that. I mean, you have Rome Odunze's dad is tweeting at the team saying he would have had 1,500 yards.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
like that. The Bears overall,
and they've got talent on that team.
Full dysfunction. The Panthers, their biggest problem was the price they paid for the trade and Bryce not owning up to being worth it. Now, if Bryce starts being worth it and you start building around him and
Well, they did.
Canales or whoever is a solid head coach, that team can. I mean, the defense isn't bad by any
Serviceable.
stretch.
Yes.
Right. And you could just very
Hubbard
easily
is good.
Brooks, their rookie running back who got hurt, he's good. Right.
Hubbard
when he comes back, Hubbard is good.
Legette's got that crazy accent, but he's proven. I mean,
I mean, if Legette is a little bit better, they beat the Eagles. Yeah.
Exactly. He does. Yeah, exactly. But they also traded Deontay Johnson coming off a heater, knowing that, hey, maybe he's not what his stats say he is.
Right.
Traded him to the Ravens. The Ravens, they threw him 3 balls in 6 weeks and then suspended him.
Yeah, and then he's crying in the locker room because it was a perfect trade. It was a great trade for the Panthers.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They got the draft capital back, and you look at them now, and you're like, well, I'm not going to crown them the next team or the team of whatever, right? But Bryce is playing significantly better football right now, way better.
Yeah,
and Caleb is playing significantly worse, right? I mean, at this point, rookie of the year.
It's
There's only 2 options.
It's 2 options. Yeah. I mean, listen, Caleb, he has a very high ceiling. It's just not being managed correctly. But I think Bryce is showing that his ceiling is a lot higher than people thought, and it looks like it's about to be managed correctly.
Yeah.
So I mean, blue skies ahead for the Panthers.
Do you hear the thunder, by the way? What the heck is happening?
I don't understand why I don't have a blizzard right now.
I think I'm gonna lose power. Like, I don't know what. Like, it sounds like a tornado outside. I don't know what's. I can hear it through my cans, and my cans are connected only to you, and it's still loud in my ears.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's crazy that we're even having this conversation, and I really don't want to talk about it forever. But the Bears are looking worse and worse and worse every week. The Panthers are. And they definitely had a shot, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they had a shot at the end of that game. You know, it's yeah. Okay, let's pivot. There's a bunch of other stuff I want to talk about too. We got the Vikings. I want to talk about the Vikings here for a second, FP.
Go for it.
How do you win 11 games and no one cares about you? How is this possible? How do you continually just explode offensively, crushing people legitimately, How do you have a quarterback that throws 5 touchdowns in a game and it's not even like a top storyline around the league?
It's insane to me because KOC should be easily coach of the year for what the Vikings are doing with Sam Darnold, with how good this team looks, with breathing down the Lions' neck for just the division, essentially, right? Like the Lions don't have that locked up yet. It's just this team is playing exponentially better than when they had Kirk. And then you see what they did against Kirk. It should be a bigger story, but then you have the Saquon and you have Jaden Daniels and you have all these other teams, but it should be a massive story that they're at what, 10 wins, 11 wins now? Like, it's crazy.
Can you check? I think they're 11-2.
Yeah.
I mean, they technically can still catch the Lions. I think they still play each other once.
Yes.
And the Eagles, I think, still also have a shot to catch the Lions. Like this, I mean, the Vikings are 11-2.
11-2.
With
healthier than the Lions.
Yes.
I mean, it should be a much bigger story.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning of the season, we talked about the NFC North potentially putting 3 or potentially 4 teams in. Now, the Packers, as much as I don't like them, they're playing pretty good as well. And I think they're in the wild card,
Yeah,
mix.
I mean, you go big balls decision from Campbell away from winning.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
It's insane.
But the Lions,
they lost.
But the Lions haven't locked up the NFC, right? I mean, all this to say, the Vikings are still alive to catch and can catch them. The Eagles can catch them, right? If the Eagles drop to the Steelers and, knock on wood here, or, let's put some positive vibes out there, the Commanders win.
Right.
The NFC East is still in play.
Right.
So, like, this is a big football weekend. It's also unofficially, I think, the first weekend of most fantasy teams or fantasy leagues are going into playoff mode here, right? And all of the teams are still in contention. Sometimes we get to this part of the year from a fantasy perspective.
A lot of stuff is locked up usually.
We're resting, or we're not playing 100% or pull the starters or whatever it might be. But, the Vikings in particular, they've got 2 really, really good receivers. They have a really good tight end. They have a serviceable backfield. They have an excellent defense. And say what you want, Sam Darnold, I mean, he's another one that should be in the MVP conference. He's 11-2 as a team. And yes, he missed a couple games, but they got Danny Dimes backing him up now too.
What's crazy with Darnold is he should be in MVP conversation, but there's also a conversation of what the hell do the Vikings do after this year of, do we sign him? Do we keep him? 2-year deal? What do we do? Do we get rid of him? Do we trade him and get all this draft capital because we have JJ McCarthy? Like, it's insane that there's 2 such very different conversations that they can have this offseason.
I totally forgot about JJ.
Yeah. It's crazy because nobody expected Sam Darnold.
Is Daniel Jones the 3rd stringer?
No, JJ's hurt, so I think DJ's technically 2.
Okay.
But like, there's a possibility where if the Vikings think that they just struck lightning in a bottle and they're not going to be able to repeat this with
what would you
Darnold.
do? I think I'd stick with Darnold.
I think Darnold is somebody that knows how rare it is to be on a good team in the NFL, and I don't think he'll take a contract that screws the Vikings. So I think the Vikings are in a position where they can say, let's sign you to a 2-year, $45 million.
I was about to say 50, 60.
Yeah, whatever $1 million deal. Stay here, get even more film on yourself being a good quarterback, and then we can revisit if we have to give you a bigger contract or if you want to go to a different team and take your shot somewhere else because we want to use JJ. But it's just, this all depends, right, on the playoff push. If Sam Darnold can come into the playoffs and get the Vikings, who always suck at playoff games,
they've also
playoff victories. They've been robbed, yeah. But if Sam Darnold is the guy that gets the Vikings those playoff wins, like the important ones, you got to keep.
Are you confident if they have to go to Detroit in the NFC Championship game? To me, that's a toss-up. These are division rivals, both in domes.
100% a toss-up, and like I said, Detroit is playing out of their mind offensively, but that defense is decimated. It is very hurt. I mean,
playoffs come down to defenses, and the Vikings, I think,
yes.
have the better one here, right? And if somehow they do catch them or put them in a spot where you've got to go to Minnesota, yes, it's dome is dome. I get it. I feel like the Vikings' home field advantage it's equal.
Oh, the Skull crowd. I don't know.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit.
Skull versus the Lion Pride. Those are two crazy fan bases.
Yeah, and they would both want that game in their building, and I think I think in either scenario it's a toss-up. But the defense is the main difference here. As good as Goff is playing, you could argue Darnold is playing just as good. For as good as those running backs are in Detroit, they have the edge. Aaron Jones is getting it done. As good as Amon-Ra St. Brown is, right? He's not Jefferson or Addison. So the difference between these teams to me is the defense. And like who's going to say the Lions have a better unit? They don't. They just don't.
I mean, yeah. And then even when it comes down, like you can go even further, right? Coaching staff, head coach, Dan Campbell versus KOC, two really heavyweight coaching. Yeah, it's really interesting, and it should be a much, much bigger story.
But the Vikings are getting it done. Remember, they let Kirk walk.
Yes.
Right? And this is a nice little segue here. I think he's finished. I think he's legitimately done.
Yeah.
There's no zip on the ball. There's no command of the huddle. It's crazy to think that a year ago, right, leading up to the knee injury, or the Achilles injury, sorry.
Yeah.
They were putting the chain on him and this and that, but low confidence that if you make it to the playoffs, you're going to do anything with Kirk. That was just the feel. That was the general feel around the league.
Yeah, he's always been Mr. 500.
It's crazy that you plug in Sam Darnold and offensively they look just as potent, but there's actually more confidence with the team rolling right now than they had at any point last season before Kirk went down. So they let him walk. Obviously, Atlanta brings him in, big contract. And then 2 weeks later, they sign Penix. They draft Penix. The question here for you, FP, is did they see something in those 2 weeks where they were just like, not necessarily that we made a mistake, but that we need to start thinking about contingency plans and next steps right away.
Well, it goes even further because if you remember the Vikings right before they got Kirk was Case Keenum and big playoff games, right? So playoff high for the Vikings, you get Kirk, you dip. Sam Darnold comes in, you go back up high. So like it's very, very clear over years of record that Kirk was the weakest point of that team. So it made sense for them to let him walk. They had the perfect out to do it. And then, yeah, if you're the Falcons, they were 6-3 at one point, and then they dropped the 4 games, and he's 0 touchdowns for 8 interceptions in those 4 games, something crazy like that.
He hasn't thrown a touchdown in a month.
Yeah, and it's just
like as bad as Daniel Jones was, as bad as all of these other quarterbacks that we talk about.
Right.
Have we ever seen someone of Kirk's caliber go touchdownless for a month? And he's got Drake London, and Kyle Pitts at this point should be fired into the sun.
That's
at least from a fantasy perspective. I don't wish harm on anybody, but he's too big and too fast to be this bad at playing tight end.
But when you
same thing.
Yeah, and when you have somebody like Bijan in your backfield, like it makes it that much easier for a quarterback. It's just
and everybody was poo-pooing on Arthur Smith, right, for being this dummy head coach who couldn't offense. Look at what he's doing in Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't talk to me about maybe he was a bad head coach. Fine, but this is like they've regressed. The Falcons have, generally speaking, here regressed. Do you think we see Penix by the time they face the Commanders? I think they've got the Giants.
Really hope we don't. I really hope we don't.
It's funny because I'm in the same boat. I want to see Kirk because you know what you get with Kirk.
Yes.
You're getting Aaron Rodgers. You're getting a statue who's not going to move.
You can sack him 100 times.
Yes.
Marshawn Lattimore can get 15 picks and
Penix.
It's
not that he's better. He's unknown.
And we're not good with unknowns. I mean, if you want to segue into the Saints game, we're not good with unknowns.
We are not good with unknowns. Yes. You would, and we can, so I think we both agree we probably will see Penix. Actually, maybe not. Maybe they've paid Kirk too much so that they're just going to keep rolling him out there.
It depends on what they do this week.
Who they got this
And-
week? They got the Giants, I think.
No, the Ravens have the Giants. Who do they have?
Falcons have is it divisional? No. I know they face us in 3 games.
Yeah. Falcons have Raiders Monday night. Ugh.
Raiders, then Giants, then us, I think is the
If they can get those 2 seemingly very easy wins,
Yeah.
which I can see them also losing to the Raiders,
and they probably stick with Kirk.
then they probably stick with Kirk. If you
Which is
drop to
good.
the Raiders and the Giants, or if you even split that,
Yeah, you
probably
probably
cut your losses, see what you got in the new kid.
Well, and they're still chasing the Bucks, but I mean the Bucks are head and shoulders better from a
Right.
team perspective, and I mean that it would be shocking if the Bucks don't win the South at this point.
Yeah, it would be.
I mean I think the Bucks still
Bucky's running great. Suddenly they have a running attack. Baker is
all
Baker
3 of their running backs are playing great.
Mike Evans back.
Mike Evans is back, absolutely. Kate Otten is playing very good. I mean, the Saints with Derek Carr's injury, they're effectively done, right? I mean, this has to be it now.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to start for them at quarterback. I don't know if that's been announced. I think Taysom is injured as well. I don't know.
Is injured. It's either what's his face? Crap. I was just talking.
Ritter. Might be Ritter. Is it Ritter?
Desmond Ritter or the other guy.
So it's basically going to be a whole lot of Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Versus the Commanders, which is actually not a good thing if you're a Commanders fan because Kamara can rip up too.
Not a good thing.
Okay, so we get Lattimore. I believe Lattimore is practicing in full and is a go for Sunday FP. However, it looks Spencer Rattler. Thank you.
Rattler.
So Lattimore is going to play.
Full practice participant.
Looks like your boy's not going to play, though. Looks like Noah Brown finished.
Noah Brown looks finished, which sucks.
The big problem.
But there's somebody that you completely forgot about that's coming off of IR. His name is Jamison Crowder.
What's wrong with you? You did not just say that with a straight face.
Come on.
Go catch 5 for 50? Come on.
Can he not?
He cannot. He
can.
No, his job is to catch the ball, field the ball, and fall over in place of Eckler.
We saw him being used last year. He did a little bit.
I can't believe that. I can't. This has got to be Luke McCaffrey time. This has got to be time. This
Jamison Crowder aside, yes.
Jumbo package.
Ertz needs to get bigger. I want to see Sinnott get more involved. Luke needs to have a breakout game.
We said Kirk didn't throw a touchdown for a month. Zach Ertz caught one every week for a month.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's losing Noah Brown hurts. Yet somehow this offense and the weapons that Peters has brought in, even OZ,
the amount of
Diami is still there. Like
wild.
What? What's the problem?
Noah was barely a number 2, barely a number 3.
We've always been number 2 by committee. So losing one of the committees not necessarily an issue.
Okay, but Diami and Luke are going to have to get the 6 for 65 or 70 yards, in addition to their own. I think they can do it, right? But you're
listen. Wide receiver 2 is a nice to have in this offense. But if B-Rob goes, if Ertz goes, and if Terry gets fed, who cares about wide receiver 2? It's a nice to have.
I like that it's in New Orleans, right? A month ago, we were talking about, Super Bowl plans. I mean, it's nice to get down there, a little preview of the town and whatever. If 6-7 weeks from now,
I'm slurping it up over here. Come on.
So I mean, I know, but it's we said going into the Titans game, like they had to have that one to get to 10. Like there's just no way around it. I think they have to have this one too, given what we're seeing elsewhere in the league.
The wild card race in the NFC is very crowded,
and the conference
you need to start pulling away.
Like this one is it's not a must have because you still got the Cowboys and the Eagles, but this one would be really, and the Falcons actually. But it's
nice that we have all the NFC games kind of to help us there. But
this is. Would you agree that this is the most winnable of the remaining games?
It should be, but
MVS doesn't scare me.
If Lattimore's going, scares me a lot.
Even without Lattimore,
it's all about Spencer Rattler. Like He should suck. We should demolish him.
Yes.
But Cooper Rush destroyed us. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but Coop wasn't a rookie, and he was playing behind a better offensive line.
Did you watch the Monday night?
I saw.
First of all, can we talk about how stupid it was that you couldn't flex that dumb game for the stupid Simpsons telecast BS?
What was that?
It was garbage. No, there's no way anybody watched the.
How
Disney
many
Plus-
people watched that broadcast?
There's
In
no
America.
way anybody watched. Homer, first of all, fun stat. Homer Simpson has thrown for a touchdown more recently than Kirk Cousins. That's how stupid the world is right now.
Who? What? Why? Who thought of it?
I-
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
And why did someone allow it to happen?
First of all, it wasn't even Simpsons. It was 3D blobs that looked like them. Like it.
But who's watching? Who
I
asked for that? Who said I would love for my insert group of people to get into football? This is how we're going to do it.
Yeah, it makes no sense, especially when you have a Bills Rams game that was amazing that could have been flexed into Monday night. But no, we get the stupid Bengals versus the stupid Cowboys, both teams having nothing to play for.
I mean, we saw CBS push the Nickelodeon Slime Factory Super Bowl thing. Then we saw Amazon push the all women telecast. Like, who is asking for these things? Who?
Nobody is asking for them.
So instead of giving football fans things to fan about and flexing the games like you're suggesting, we insist on doing something that doesn't pass the sniff test with any logical fan. Like, I don't get it at all.
No, just pay attention to your target audience, which is
They
men
don't do
and women from 17 years old to 80. Nobody cares about the children. Leave the children out of it. They will get there on their own.
Children are fans of what their parents are fans of.
Children are fans of what their parents are fans of, or Madden. Okay, I don't
Sure.
know what boomer thinks that Gen Alpha kids are in touch with The Simpsons. They're not.
They don't watch
Nobody
The Simpsons.
cares. No.
It's the Gen Xers that are still watching The Simpsons.
Yes.
In year 30.
And all we do is
If
complain
you watch
about.
The Simpsons in 2024, it's because you've been watching The Simpsons since 1994,
Yes.
not because you found them in 2014.
Yeah. It's just,
I don't get
it makes no sense.
I don't get it.
But yeah, I mean, I forgot what we were talking about.
We're talking about the Commanders and Saints.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not getting flexed. We're 1 o'clock and done. Hopefully,
The
with
Falcons game is the TBD one that could get flexed.
I mean, they would both teams would have to win a lot of games between now and then to get flexed. We talk about this week.
No. On the schedule,
our game. Yeah.
Commanders Falcons is set as TBD.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
there's no
if
thing.
for that to happen, though, I mean, I would imagine both teams would need to win 2 games each going into that game to make it for that flex appeal.
That's the thing, right? If you look at the schedule, right? If you take care of the Saints, and let's again positive vibes. Let's say you take care of the Eagles, right? If the Falcons should be taking care of the Raiders and the Giants, 100% that game is flex worthy. I don't know how the schedule makers foresaw this or what script they were.
Well,
provided.
they didn't. But hold on, they didn't because they put 4 incredible matchups in the 4 o'clock window this week. Right? You got the Pennsylvania Bowl. Let me look it up. Actually, I don't want to get this wrong. Or if you have it open, let's look at it.
You have your 4 o'clock games: Bucks, Chargers, Colts, Broncos.
Bucks, Chargers. Hold on, Bucks, Chargers. Huge game for the AFC.
Yes.
Okay.
Colts, Broncos. That's a huge game for the AFC for the wild card.
Broncos should handle business.
Bills, Lions is massive.
Huge game. Huge.
Yeah, and then Patriots, Cardinals is poo-poo.
Yeah. So 2 of the 3 of the 4 games have legitimate playoff ramifications. And Lions, Bills.
4 of the 5 games because the Chargers and the Broncos,
yes,
are both very much in the hunt. Yeah, and then
the Lions Bills is a legitimate Super Bowl preview.
Yes,
and the country may not be watching it because of these
and disgustingly enough, Steelers Eagles could also be a Super Bowl
Yeah, well,
If you give me a
listen,
Pennsylvania Super Bowl, I'm
NFL
rioting.
the NFL wants the Chiefs in there. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know how they
We're
keep
talking
winning these
about the
games.
doink.
I don't know how they keep winning these games, but clearly the NFL wants the Chiefs in there, and the 4-peat would be incredible. And look, they keep winning, so like you say what you want, but I mean, some of the calls, especially during Thanksgiving weekend,
There's no way they
questionable.
would get to a 4-peat. If they win the third one this year, there's no way they're getting. You think they could push for 4 next year?
Isn't it
There's
this
no
year 4? Oh no, you're right.
This
You're right.
year's
Sorry,
3.
it's a 3-peat. It's the third in 4 years.
Yeah. Third and 4
Sorry.
years.
Yes. Oh no, 4-peats.
Okay.
No, 4-peats is nuts. No.
If they get 4-peats, I'm gonna have to like I'll
No, there's no way. No. That's my fault. It's a 3-peat.
If they 4-peat, then 100% there's some demonic ritual Taylor Swift.
There's something
voodoo.
happening.
There's something
happening. But I mean, they keep doinking their way to these victories. I mean, they should have lost on opening week to the Ravens.
Yeah.
But Isaiah Likely's big toe was out of bounds,
Yeah.
right? Like, so
What's crazy is this isn't the first time. I think they said it was like 4 seasons ago, where they locked up the division with a doink-in field goal. It's not the first time it's happened for the Chiefs.
yeah,
They're just that team.
they are just that team. But their defense is better. They Isaiah Pacheco is back. DeAndre Hopkins is an upgrade. Like they're skilled too. Like it's not.
Yeah.
I don't buy the it's the zebras that are giving them these wins. I
They
mean,
don't really have a weakness outside of, sometimes it just
maybe
doesn't
rush
go their way.
defense.
But
Yeah, maybe rush defense. But let's put a bow on the topic here. Commanders and Saints. Who you got?
I'm going Commanders, and I'm hoping that we see a really refreshed, rejuvenated O-line, and that running attack just goes crazy. Like I want to see another 250 total yards of rushing from whoever's back there, and it's just a monster game, like 38-17 something.
Now, I'll give you my game script here. A lot of it is lifted from the Titans game. Get out there, get Terry involved quick. Try to get a 2-touchdown lead to start. Kick a field goal or 2 going into halftime, and then nurse that lead the rest of the way with your running game.
Yeah, I would
run all your running backs the whole way through. I want it to be a boring game. We don't need theatrics. Like come out firing, build a lead because they can't come back. If you let this team hang around just like any other team in the NFL, this game, we don't want it to be interesting. Just like the Titans game. I don't want it to be interesting.
Things to watch for, though. We have been slacking on getting our QB sacks. I would like to see the sacks come back this game against unskilled,
they should be able to get
quarterbacks. Yeah, they should.
Right. They should be able to do that. I think Kamara's the guy who can kill you, and he can kill you. Like say what you want about his age. He can go 50 yards, no touchdowns, but he can very easily go 180 yards, 5 touchdowns, like we saw 2 Christmases ago. Like and MVS he might drop an 80-yarder and then catch 3 50-yarders in back-to-back possessions. I mean, I know he's burned out or flamed out basically every team he's played on, but he can still run past anyone. And and Lattimore, he's the guy I'm going to be watching. I think jersey number 23. I think
23. Yeah.
So I'm going to be fixed on him. Like I want to see him. I want to see him take the field. And it happens to be against his old team, which is fine. But I'm looking at his snap counts. I'm looking at how how the defense maybe shifts away from him. Do we see less nickel packages? Do we get an extra linebacker on the field? Do we see Fowler play on the line? I don't know. I'm excited to see what the defense could look like.
Yeah,
this is really a tune-up game. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but you want to figure out how your defense is going to line up this week in preparation for next week.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is the best time of year. It's the best time of year. We've got meaningful football in DC, which we didn't have this time last year. It's been several years since we had anything going on, and they made the playoffs with a losing record in 2020.
2020. Yeah.
COVID year, right?
Yeah, but the December games that year weren't as important as these December games. It was we fell ass backwards into the playoffs because the entire NFC was weak, especially the East.
Do you buy into the revenge game moniker? I don't think I buy into it, to be honest. But you have Chase facing his old team. You got Lattimore facing his old team.
I honestly forgot Chase Young was on the Saints until
I was waiting for you to bring it up or anyone to say anything. I mean,
completely forgot.
You're gonna be watching 99 to do his one move on this.
I cannot wait for him to bull rush past Andrew
If
Wiley.
he registers half a sack, I'm gonna be pissed.
What is the over under on that? Can I place a bet on that?
I'm
taking the under.
Look it up right.
I'll put $100 on the under.
The Redskins' luck would have it. He's gonna have like a six game sack.
No. Chase
Second.
Chase Young, he's gonna get bull rushed out of every.
Lattimore-
Can you just imagine the joy when you see Chase Young thinking he's gonna close in on Jaden Daniels, and all Jaden does is like the slowest sidestep.
I don't want to put this out there, FP. The highlight of Chase Young's career was taking out Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow is not as mobile as Jaden Daniels. And Chase Young, by the way, I never would have admitted it back then. I'll admit it now. Was balls lucky to have been in position to make that play against that team his rookie year.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to be there. He like accidentally was in the play.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I buy revenge game. Revenge games are like it's like loser players.
Also,
I don't know.
Chase should be over the revenge game. He's been on like 2 teams since. Like nobody cares.
He went to where did he go first? He
Niners.
49ers.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he signed with the Saints. And then he missed all of training camp, remember? Yeah. He's wearing his crop tops down in the Big Easy. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't think this is revenge game worthy.
Well, I just don't. I don't know if I buy that. I was listening to somebody talk about revenge game. I'm like, well, is it really a revenge game when you're thrown out of town or when you're traded away? Like, does that make sense? I don't. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. It does make sense to me. Anything else you're watching? Are you all caught up on?
Caught up on Lioness. The last episode. Are you caught up? The last episode was amazing.
So I'm one episode behind. I got one on
Sunday's
deck.
episode was a lot.
I have been enjoying Landman. Did you reconnect with Landman?
I didn't watch it this past week, but it is really good.
Okay.
I mean, Billy Bob's just a solid actor.
He's so good. He's so good.
And everything he does.
There was did you watch the in-season Hard Knocks?
Episode 2 came out last week, or it comes out today?
Yesterday. Last
I didn't watch it last night. I'll have to watch that tonight.
Did you watch the first one?
I watched the first one.
So I found that one to be so interesting because, I mean, Mike Tomlin. I didn't know what I expected Mike Tomlin to look or sound like, but him eating fruit snacks and
Fritos,
just yelling at people, but like confidently and quietly yelling at them, and then like predicting plays. I mean, that guy's been there for 18 years and he's just doing it.
Well, there was a time where before Dan Quinn, we were all having the conversation about if we would want Tomlin when there was rumors that the Steelers might get rid of him.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of debates either in the chat or on the show, and I forgot whose side was on who, but we were discussing if Tomlin was a good coach or not. And I think after watching that Hard Knocks episode, I think he's just a really good coach. And I think it's more like you have the McVays and the KOCs or whoever that are like the super brainchild coaches, right? And they can do that. But Mike Tomlin's kind of like the OG Dan Campbell, where he's just, you really buy into him, you buy into the team, and he coaches up like the player, like the actual person, right? So like, what was his face? Pickens, when he came off on the sideline, and like Tomlin's like hugging him, and he's like, "That's not going to affect the rest of the game." And then immediately Pickens goes out and scores. Like Tomlin is coaching like the man, and it's making the team amazing, right? And it's just he's just a solid. He doesn't get shaken by anything.
He also seems to be able to pull any string with any player at any time.
Yeah, and then when you look at his track record of hiding the crazy that was Antonio Brown and hiding the crazy that was the running back, I forgot his name, the other B. Le'Veon Bell. Like he can hide all of the dysfunction because he has such a tight grip on that locker room. He's like the opposite of Sirianni.
He could also bring in 2 veteran quarterbacks and
use them perfectly
and navigate all of that mess too.
Yeah.
because he's fully in control.
Yes.
He's just an adult, and yeah. But it was even the way Harbaugh runs the Ravens. Like when you see I was fascinated actually by seeing the facilities.
Beautiful.
Like what part of Maryland looks like Italy?
Yeah,
because that's where the Ravens. That's where the Ravens
practice facility.
Where are those roaming hills in Maryland exactly? Because that doesn't look familiar to me at all.
No, yeah,
I thought it was really well done. I'm actually excited to see this week's episode too. So,
and just Jameis's must watch TV. Barefoot running plays in the QB room.
It's just amazing. I mean, Jameis needs to be mic'd up all the time. Like he's living with CTE, or is this just how he is?
I think that's just how he is.
Did you see the video where he's spinning the ball
from stealing crab legs? Oh my god, the intro video.
Like the producer went on record and said, "We asked the quarterbacks to look menacing."
Yeah,
his idea of looking menacing was doing that.
The W, baby.
The W. It's just he's wild. I mean,
I love him.
As crazy as he is, the Browns would have had a better season with him starting from the jump.
100%.
I mean, they're in an impossible situation with Watson, but I mean, look at what they did with Kadarius Toney, right? I mean, this loser.
Didn't they cut him already?
They cut him. Like they according to the rumors are that he was notified on the sideline on Sunday that he was going to be released
to get a personal foul taunting penalty on a fair catch.
How do you do that? How do you do that? Like, what is this?
Why are you going to throw the ball at somebody after a fair catch?
You're not that good. You're not significant enough of a player. Like, you didn't cut it with the Giants. The Giants let you go.
Yeah, and their number one need was receiver.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I don't get that one. I got one last topic here. I'm honestly a little iffy about even talking through this, but the NYC assassin has been caught.
Luigi.
Are
we putting caught in quotations?
I'm not putting it in quotations.
I'm putting it in quotations.
I'm asking you if you're surprised about how it ended.
I'm going full tin foil on this one. I don't think it's him.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but okay.
Are you going to tell me Ivy educated trust fund has all of his shit together assassin is going to go out there, and the cops are saying it must have been a skilled assassin to make that kind of shot, right? And then
the gun that he made
with the gun that he made in his house. And then they're saying they found his jacket, but then he was caught in McDonald's with his jacket, with the manifesto, with the weapon. And you're going to tell me all of a sudden somebody at McDonald's just randomly recognized the guy that nobody could recognize off his smile? It's just, none of it adds up. It makes no sense. I love that his name is Luigi.
I'll give you that there's gaps. Did you see that H&M posted that their number one selling item was the green jacket?
I mean, it's a nice jacket, actually.
But like this shows you like how insane people are.
It's social media justice warriors.
Can you on the top 100 things I thought after I saw the photo, it didn't even register that I should. Oh, I like the jacket. Let me go find out the maker and then let me buy one like it.
Yeah, and then all of Instagram has the freaking reels and all the women just like gawking over him because
but all the Uber drivers in New York City were wearing gray hoodies and green jackets for the last couple of days and posting about, and then people are posting, I took it. My Uber driver looks like the
power of a nice smile.
Somebody died here, and I don't want to like make fun of it or like belittle it at all. But no one cares. I don't know what like the United Healthcare, all the healthcare conglomerates, like they're seen as subhuman, like how they operate. People don't like them in general.
Yeah.
I know the last couple of shows I've been telling you, I've been doing a little rewatch of Prison Break. That's where my mind went immediately. I was like, this is like real life Michael Scofield. He's going to be on the run, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it doesn't play out that way, but it's fascinating.
But that's the part.
His name. This is here's the question that I it's a little twist on the question. It's a question based on the question. If you could identify the shooter, let's just say it was somebody that you and I both know, right? Let's just say somebody that you went to high school with, or you went to college with, or you work with, even, right?
Right.
If you can identify the person, do you pick up the phone and call police and say, "I know who that is," and tell them, or do you do the mind my own business bit?
I tend to lean mind my own business. I think it would depend a lot more on the crime in question.
So
And that's kind of going to what you're saying, like United Healthcare CEO. And if you read part of the manifesto, you're like,
so
I don't
local
agree with
radio, we're all fans of the Junks here. I mean, Luigi's got parents. Parents must have immediately known that's my
my
kid.
son. Yeah.
You're in their shoes. Do you make the call?
No.
If you're a cousin, uncle, aunt,
That's what I'm saying. It depends on the crime, right?
this one, this crime.
Yeah. This crime, I don't think I make the call.
Yeah. See, and that to me is wild, because I don't know, like I don't know what to do with that, but I couldn't answer. Like, what if it was my kid? I'm not calling, turning my kid in,
No.
right? I don't know what to do with that. It's like an actual conundrum. I cannot solve this Rubik's cube. I don't know what to do with this information. I don't know.
I'm still stuck on that. It's not him that got found.
So what is it?
I
Deep
think
state?
they found no. I think they found the fall guy,
or they're distracting us from something else,
or
right?
they're distracted. Like, first of all, if you look at the viral picture of his smile, there's no unibrow, and then the capture video, there's a unibrow. You and I are of Middle Eastern descent. Can you grow unibrow in 5 days?
No.
Okay, makes no sense.
Now I'm fascinated by your conspiracy. Now, oh man, I honestly wasn't expecting you to go this direction.
Yeah.
It's a full-on deep state fake.
Deep state fake. I mean, somebody's got to fill Stevie's shoes in here. I put the tinfoil hat on for him.
Well, I'm actually terrified of what Steve thinks about this, but we started talking about baseball, and he immediately jumped into Luigi talk. Immediately. So I guess we'll see. We got to get him and Matt in here to talk baseball at some point. But okay, I'll keep that one in the rotation. Maybe we bring that one back next week.
I'm sure there'll be more developing stories. The made for lifetime movie of it is going to be fantastic.
The TV
made for
Netflix,
sure. Whoever's going to buy it.
He made his own weapon.
Yeah, ghost
Think
weapon.
about that too. Ghost weapon.
Yeah, everything about ghost weapons should be its own conversation, because it's fascinating and terrifying at the exact same time.
Yes, you could build something, make it completely untraceable, and then dispose of it, and no one would even know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Minus CCTV cameras all over New York City. So,
yeah.
Okay, FB. Okay, you leave me with a lot to think about. Anything else from you, sir, before we wrap it up?
No, nothing for me. Just getting ready for some really good football for my fantasy playoff push that nobody cares about. Somebody apparently won a parlay for hitting a 14 anytime TD parlay.
People
$5 won $500,000.
Everyone has to stop talking about those, because that's the reason why everybody gambles.
I know, but people are hitting them.
Not people. One guy.
I don't care. It's possible.
See, this is the problem. Yeah, everything's possible. Yeah. Listen, I wish you luck. Okay, I wish you luck.
Instead of buying a coffee, you put a $5 parlay. What's the problem?
On 14 teams? Take all the road teams this weekend?
It's always something crazy like that, right? Like every tight end is going to score a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Or 3 missed field goals across 5 afternoon games.
It's going to happen. It's something crazy.
All right. Well, I got nothing to add to. It's a good show. It's a good week. It's the last real full week of work before people start taking off and schools start letting out early, and hopefully the weather just figures itself out, because this spring rain in the middle of December is not.
I don't like warm Christmases. It pisses me off.
It's not my favorite. What do you think of people in Australia are doing? Think about it. You're at the beach hanging out. It's 200 degrees, and you go home to watch a Christmas movie, and it's snowing in New York City.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't travel during Christmas, because I need it to be cold and snowy. I need it. I need to be in a Lifetime movie.
FP, I think we're done.
Yeah.
It's game time. For FP, my name is Joe. The show is DTC Defeating the Curse, available on all social media platforms. Just search for DTC. You can listen to this show live on YouTube and on Facebook. You can catch up anytime on any of the other platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just search for DTC. We pop right up. Until next week, we are out.